What's going on, guys, and welcome to Who to Sign For. Now in this series I'm giving you my recommendations on what players to sign for a specific team in career mode. Before we go on, I will say that the signings you'll see aren't designed to be realistic, and the player ratings and potentials of the players may vary depending on what database you're using and how they perform for you during the season. Obviously, you don't have to follow all the tips. This is really just a set of guidelines to give you a hand if you're stuck for ideas and want some suggestions on what players you can sign for a certain club. This is mainly aimed at those who are out there who may be new to the game. I just need a little bit of advice, or for those who are out there who want a few recommendations on what players to sign for a team that you may be using in career mode this year. And in today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys, we are going to take a look at Venezia FC. Yes, Venezia of the beautiful, unique city of Venice. And guys, we are about 8 weeks away from FIFA 23. If you're looking for a new career mode before the new FIFA comes out, please, please, please give these guys a go, because it's going to be your last chance to use them, because of course they were relegated from the Serie A last season, and as we know, the Serie B is not in FIFA. I do believe it's going to stay that way for FIFA 23 as well, so because of that, this is your last chance to use Venezia of Italy. That's a terrible accent. I won't do that again. Sorry. So Venezia, relegated last season from the Serie A, finished bottom of the table. But what a team to use, man. I mean, how many reasons can I give you? Several, but I'll just give you a couple. Well, first of all, an RTG in the Serie A. Venezia, probably the best of the 20 in Italy to use. Why is that? Well, great young talent, the young American Busio, the young French talent Cuisance as well. There's some really decent young talents here, and you've got a couple of great stars from football over the past decade or so, in the case of Nani on the wing and Sergio Romero between the sticks as well. You've got a couple of very interesting players loaned in, such as Ethan Ampadu from Chelsea and also Abuehi from Benfica. Caldara is also in the heart of your team as well. But it's a low-rated team. It's got a very small starting budget of around £5 million, and your objective in the first season is to finish in mid-table. It's tough. It's a tough starting season for Venezia in Venice. It is not going to be an easy task for you to finish in mid-table. It is definitely doable, though, no doubt about it. You've got teams in the Serie A such as Empoli and Salernitana. These are teams you should be finishing above because you're higher rated down, and you've got a young team as well. But to finish well clear of the bottom three would be quite a difficult ask in the first season, though it is definitely doable. And again, for an RTG, it's such a great team to take over, man. I mean, the kits are just absolutely beautiful. They really, really are. They've got new kits for the new season, like all football clubs do nowadays. New kits for the new season. They're also really nice as well. I love the way they do the promo for their new kits as well, using actual models in the heart of the city of Venice. It's fantastic. But again, they're such a brilliant team, and I really do highly recommend. If you're looking for a challenge, if you're looking for a long RTG, but in a fabulous real city of Venice, and of course, amazing kits, a long way to go, but also a real challenge as well. Venezia are the best you'll find in the Serie A. So, as you would have seen, starting budget's around 5 mil. There's not many players you can sell to raise a good amount of cash. There's very little what you'd call assets here that are financially worth a lot of money. So, you're going to sell a few players, but you're not going to get much in return for them. But for new signs with Venezia, you've got to spend your pennies wisely to improve the first 11 and give yourself the best possible chance of finishing in mid-table. My number one target for Venezia would be a new midfielder. You've got Busio, the young American talent. You've got Cuisance, the young French talent, and you've got Ampadu on loan from Chelsea as well. But I would recommend a new central midfielder, and my number one target would be this guy right here. It's Sonora of Independiente of Argentina. This is a young American talent who you can get for under the valuation. We spent just 3 mil to prize him away from Argentina, and I love this guy to pieces because he's so versatile. He's a playmaker by trade, but when you look at his stats here, There's no reason why he couldn't sit deeper. His defensive stats aren't terrible. He's got good stamina at 75, and his passing is brilliant. 77 long pass, 78 short pass, great vision, decent ball control, and a good dribbler of the ball as well. To me, he would work really well through the heart of your midfield trio with Busio and Cuisance alongside him as well. Yep, really good player and definitely worth bringing in. So Sonora you can get for £3 million. And like I said, there are a few players that you definitely do want to sell because, to be honest, they're not really going to do much for you. See, we sold a Brazilian goalkeeper, they're 58 rated. You're not going to get much money, but you might as well just get their salaries off the books. And as you'll see as well, the other position I would recommend with Venezia is at right back as well. You do, of course, have the young lad on loan from Benfica. He's not bad at all at 70 rated, but you'll notice with Venezia, their weakest area is in the back line, and you will want a new right back. Your current right back is just 70 rated. You'll want someone better, you'll want someone young, but most importantly, you'll also want someone that's yours as well. Because he's only on loan, you'll want someone that's yours, and you can sign this guy, Marcelo Weigand of Boca Juniors in Argentina as well for under the valuation. Contract come the end of the year. He's 71 rated, so he's a rating higher than Ebueyi. He's also 4 years younger, and crucially, again, he's yours. He's going to be your player, which means it'll be yours permanently, unlike the lad on loan from Benfica, Ebueyi. So yeah, Marcelo, again, higher rated. It'll go right in the first 11. He's got 79 potential, I believe, or possibly 80 actually. So yeah, he'll grow to be a really good starter in your team for all the years you're at Venezia, as we change the position of Sonora here from CAM to CM as well. This guy will be just such a brilliant box-to-box, man. He really, if you get the defensive stats up, plus the stamina and train the defensive work on it from medium to high, he'll be a really good box-to-box in your team with the creativity he's already got as well. Through the middle of the park in the 4-3-3, he'll be fantastic. And after making those two signings there, again, with Venezia, you've got very little money to work with, very little indeed. So you're not going to be able to improve this first 11 by much. Just a couple of new signings to the first 11. That's all you can probably do in the first season. That's what we do with Sonora and also Weigand as well. So after that, I'd recommend bringing in some good young Italian talent. I would say at centre-half, you would definitely want someone for the future as well. Caldara is only here on loan. There aren't that many centre-backs here at Venezia anyway. I'd recommend a good young Italian talent you can get for under the valuation or around that. We signed Lorenzo Parola from Monza. I believe he's on loan at Monza from Inter Milan, but in the game, a permanent Monza player. You can get him for around £1 million on a really low salary. And whilst he's only 64 overall, that's not great. In the first couple of seasons, you probably won't give him much game time, but he's also got 81 potential as well. So again, there's not many centre-halves here at Venezia. We retrained Mateju from right back to centre-half because he's got the stats to play as a centre-half and be a starter in this team as well. But you will want someone for the future with solid potential. You don't have that right now. You can get that with someone like Lorenzo Parola or perhaps Scalvini, if you will. And I think the final signing I made was this guy right here. One of the final signings I made, Wilfred Nanto of FC Zurich. I'm sure you know all about this guy. With FC Zurich, he helped them win the Swiss Super League last year, so congrats to him. He's only 17 years old at the time you start your save, valued at 1.5 mil, but he's a fantastic young striker. He's won his first caps at senior level under Roberto Mancini, so already a fully capped Italian international. He's a teenage talent that starts off 65 rated, so not great in the first season or two, but he's got 83 potential. You can get him for under £1 million. We spent 400 grand plus an Israeli midfielder that we had no plans to use for now or for the future either. And again, this guy is going to be one of the best strikers in Italian football as the years go by. You've got a great set of strikers already, to be fair. Both Insame and Okereke, though, however, are both on loan. You've got Henri, and you've got Sigurdsson as well, a good young centre forward, but you want someone that's yours. Because two of your starting strikers are on loan, you want someone that's yours for the future, and Wilfred Nanto is the perfect player for that. 83 potential. He'll grow to be a great starter and your main source of goals in a Venezia team. And the final signing we made, another young Italian talent, Filippo Massori of AS Roma under Jose Mourinho. 17 years old, 60 rated right back, and again, the reason I'd recommend signing a right back is because Buhia is obviously on loan from Benfica, whereas obviously once we sign Marcelo Weigand, he'll be our starter, but you'll want someone for the future And this guy's a really good option. Whilst he only starts off at 60 overall, he's only 17 years old and he's got 81 potential as well. So yes, in the first season or possibly first 2 seasons, you won't give this guy much game time whatsoever. But when Ebuehi, sorry, I mispronounced his name a moment ago there, Ebuehi, once he goes back on loan to Benfica, this guy will take over as your backup right back. So definitely worth bringing in. And oh my god, I forgot I made another signing as well. Once again, there's not much money to work with Venezia, so you just got to make sure you get the good young Italian talent for undervaluation deals or around valuation. The final signing I did make was Brian O'Day of Sassuolo. I tried so hard to get Nicky Mainper out of the club, the Finnish shot stopper who'd be third choice goalkeeper, and we got no use for. But Brian O'Day of Sassuolo, we spent 1.4 mil, so just under the valuation. And the key with Parola, with O'Day, and the right back we just signed as well, is that the contracts are so low, which means that we're not spending much on our wage budget. So Brian O'Day, another good young Italian talent to build for the future with. Once again, you're not going to use him much in the very first season or 2. He's 65 rated, so not the highest, but again, you got to think about the future. Just 18 years old with, I think, 81 potential. So yeah, someone to watch for the future. Definitely train his pace up. Not the quickest as a winger, but already at 18, 70 finishing. This guy could be a great inside forward as the years go by as a left-footed right winger. So with Venezia, we spent practically every single penny on improving our team. Like I said, because you've got very little money to work with, around £5 million your starting budget, you can't really improve the first 11 by much. You can just bring in a couple of players to slightly improve it. That's what we do with Alan Sonora and also Weigand as well. The rest of which is building for the future. Venezia are a young team with certain young talent like Busio and like Cuisance, but you still do need to make sure you've got players that you can bring in that can also develop alongside the young talent you've got, like Cuisance, like Busio, for the future as well. Because with Venezia, it's not a one and done save, it's a long-term RTG. So as per usual, we simulate the end of the season, and as you can see, well, we were asked to finish in mid-table. I felt pretty confident we'd done that. We actually had a really good start to the season, I must say. Not a bad end either. Less said about mid-season, the better, and more on that in a moment. But as you'll see, we ended the season and finished in 13th place, and that's definitely doable as well. Once again, Venezia are a 3.5-star team, and you look at some of the teams here I mentioned earlier. You got, Salernitana, Empoli. These are teams which you should be finishing above. And what I really like about the Serie A is that in the first season, it's a real free-for-all. I mentioned before, every single season there could be a different winner. Napoli, Lazio, Milan, Inter, Roma, Juve, even Atalanta, they've all got a chance winning the title in the first season. Then there's a cluster of teams in mid-table, and there are definitely teams you should be higher rated down. Spezia, I think, are the weakest side. Salernitana and Empoli as well. And then the likes of Bologna and Cagliari, these are teams that you should be considered around about as good as the season goes by. I mentioned a moment ago there we had a really poor mid-season. That included getting knocked out in the first round of the Coppa Italia. We were asked to reach the quarterfinals, got knocked out by Torino in the last 16, but we did hit our league objective, finishing in mid-table, 13th place. Not the best of seasons, certainly nothing to write home about, but we survived the bottom 3. That was the most important thing. And again, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that in the first season. Yes, of course, you're not the strongest team at 3.5 star. You are one of the weaker sides out there, but there are weaker sides than you. You've got some good young talent like Cuisance, like Busio. We signed in Sonora as well. And don't forget, you've got a couple of stars in your team. Sergio Romero between the sticks. Nani starts off, I believe, 78 overall. And Haps, the left back, is 75 rated as well. So there's no reason, with a few good quality players in your team and a few good youngsters as well, you shouldn't be able to sort of struggle, if you will, in the first season. You should be able to avoid a bottom 3 finish if you're not disastrous, either getting out of the blocks or ending the season. So as we end the season there, as you can see, we run through the team here. Once again, it's a 3.5 star team and a great project, man, for an RTG. And once again, I'd say this. We know that FIFA 23 is around 8 weeks away. There's not much time to start and have a good career mode save between now and FIFA 23. Guys, if you're looking for your final FIFA career mode, my recommendation, Venezia. It's your last chance to use them. They were relegated last season. This is your last chance to use Venezia. Give them a go whilst you still can. Amazing, beautiful kits, a long-term RTG, very little money, a couple of good youngsters, but a real challenge from Season 1. Give these guys a go. Great team to use for an RTG in the Serie A. But that will end today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys. Big fan of you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Who to Sign For very soon.